Everyone, One Big Boss here, and welcome back to another episode of New to Retro Reviews, where today we have a very special episode. But I've been playing this game for a while, and my eyes are bleeding. You can't tell, but they're bleeding. But I'm very excited to talk about this game, and that game today is Clock Tower Rewind, a legit blast from the past. Well, the Super Famicom's past. This game was never released outside of Japan back in the day on the Super Famicom, so Americans wouldn't really get to play this game until the PS1 and the PS2 era. But thanks to the efforts of the people over at Limited Run and the amazing and talented folks at WayForward, survival horror fans can experience this game for the first time. And also, special shout out to Jeremy over at WayForward for getting me this review code. If y'all love Resident Evil memorabilia, check out his Twitter, as it's a museum haven for all cool horror stuff like that. So, with that being said, let's turn back the clock in this title and see if it works in 2024. Here's Clock Tower Rewind. Let's go. The story to this game starts off with a group of teenagers who are adopted by a wealthy man named Simon Barrows, who lives in the mansion far out in the woods, which has been known to be called Clock Tower, due to the tower being part of the architecture that stands out the most. Upon arriving at the mansion, the girls settle in as Miss Mary goes to find Mr. Burrows, but once she has gone too long, Jennifer sets out to find her, only to not get that far as she hears a scream from the main hall, and she returns to find herself the only one there and all of her friends missing. Creepy mansion, people disappearing from the main hall. Yeah, anyone else feel like they've heard this story or played this game before? After that, Jennifer begins to explore the house and realize that she isn't alone as the murderous Scissor Man stalks her from room to room until she finds various ways to knock him out and deal with him. And to be honest, I think we've also heard this story as well. But again, I like it, the idea and the actual combat of this game, which is kind of very little. It works. I like it. I really enjoyed that part. As Jennifer explores the mansion, she finds deeper and darker secrets to what's really behind the doors of the manor, as she even has somewhat of a connection to this place in the story itself. Now, I won't spoil any more. Believe me when I say that this is a story that I feel a lot of people need to experience. Now, it's not really told through cutscenes as much or anything like that, but it's kind of like how Resident Evil was. You kind of just had to read to really sense the tension and horror that filled the mansion back then. And to be honest, this is no different. And honestly, it was kind of a breath of fresh air to have something like this instead of a very big CGI cutscene. And generally, I'm a fan of big cutscenes. So, yeah, definitely give it a read and try not to spoil yourself if you're watching stuff about this game. The gameplay is your standard point-and-click adventure. The game doesn't hold your hand or tell you essentially where anything is or where to even go. If you played Resident Evil games, then you could probably navigate decently through this, but I do feel that there are going to be struggles, especially later parts of the game. The controls for this are, well, by pressing the top bumpers, you have Jennifer run left or run right, and it's pretty much used to be able to escape very quickly. Because, honestly, you're going to want her to run, because the walk animation is so damn slow. But you'll be using the cursor as well as your guide to help you find important items in the rooms. And believe me, you're going to want to search everything you can, because sometimes some items just aren't even visible to your eye. You have to open curtains, you have to open doors, you have to pretty much do anything you can to find out how to solve puzzles or just find important items. But while this might upset the modern day gamer because there's a lot of thinking involved about these things and what happens, I still feel there is a challenge that a lot of people are going to enjoy. And these gameplay mechanics in this game, well, yeah, they work. So give it your best shot when you actually play this and really learn the layout the best you can. I mean, honestly, do what we used to do with old Zelda games. Draw the dungeon on paper and connect the rooms the best you can, and, well, then you know exactly where you are. Because unfortunately, in this game, I have noticed that some of the halls do look very similar, so you might get tripped up or lost here or there. Your health also comes in the form of panic. There's various different stages to panic for Jennifer, such as blue being fine, startled being green, meaning she has been hurt a little bit, scared is indicated for the color of yellow, and, well, she's half dead at that point. Frightened is represented by orange, which means death is coming soon. Terrified is when she's, well, got enough strength left for one more battle. And demented is in red and is the end of the road for Jennifer. Well, using different colors for your health instead of it just being red and getting redder? Again, I think we've seen this before. Okay, I'm going to stop doing my best, again, to comparing it to Resident Evil, but this does give off the health vibe for Resident Evil. And again, I'm all for it, because I actually think this is pretty inventive. I do like the different layers of panic that she has and what it can all mean. Again, you kind of have to find this out for yourself, because the game doesn't really tell you that, I'm sure, unless you have a guide for it or something like that. You can also rest and restore Jennifer's health or reduce her panic levels, as it's stated. This is good because you can rest at any time, and you should do this very often, because this game has what I describe as very erratic nature, where anything can happen almost at any time. So you really need to be ready, because you don't want to get a game over and have to start where you last saved, which in this game, you can generally save whenever you want because you have that option. So pretty much, as the game goes on, you will move into different levels, much like another game. There again, I did it again. I compared it to Resident Evil. Either way, again, I know this came before Resident Evil, but still, it's just something that I keep going back to. But ultimately, I want to talk about more levels in this game and what comes later, but it's one of those things where I really do feel fans and newcomers really just want to experience this again or for the first time. So please make sure to do that and try not to get spoiled if you watch any other reviews besides mine. The challenge of this game is real because, well, the game's pretty much randomized, which makes for great replay value, don't get me wrong. Now, I will say you won't be told where to go or what to do. Like, if you played Resident Evil games, right, you know that you'd go up to a door and it would be locked and it would say something like, oh, it's locked. A carving of armor is on the door, or something like that. You just gotta, well, explore, making it all the more realistic. So when you get a key, you actually really don't know where that key goes half the time. I mean, sometimes I guess you could figure it out, but ultimately you kind of just gotta keep trying doors because there's no marking on there to indicate which door goes to what key. Very realistic, but I can see why some people might get a little upset by this, but I think people who are in this game for a challenge, they're going to get their money's worth. Now, I did talk about the rewind option earlier, and I wanted to touch upon this, is the fact that do not rely on this thing. It's good, but it also isn't. You have to learn how to utilize this tool in the right way because, unfortunately, certain things happen in this game and play out, and the way that the characters are animated and how they move, even when Jennifer's running fast, if you mess up and try to rewind all the way back to the area you don't want to be in, well, because of how those events play out, you might not actually be able to. Now, you can save and load pretty much whenever, but again, it's kind of a tool that you're not supposed to abuse and just kind of figure out as you go along with it. So definitely be sparing with it and don't try to rely too heavily on it. I know I did for a while, and I think that's what was screwing me up on my first playthrough of this game. The story really helps set the mood of this game as well as exploring the mansion. Much like for Resident Evil fans, a lot is found out through exploring and reading and discovering books and journals and paperwork and just exactly what happened in the mansion and, well, all these twisted people that are within it. The real punch of this game is in its atmosphere and how you feel as Jennifer trying to run, hide, and save her friends. Sure, it might not be scary in the traditional sense, and it might not scare people of today, but if you tune in and you really play through this game a couple times and you find people who died in one area but now they're not there in this playthrough and it's different, you can get spooked by some of the enemies that pop up or some of the things that you find. I mean, okay, I'm easily scared, so I did get spooked at some parts, but honestly, I like that. And, well, I mean, isn't that what we want from horror games, is to feel a little fear now and then? I mean, you know, me, I'm going to have nightmares and stuff, but hey, I mean, other people aren't like me. People aren't cowards. I am. The other thing that really makes this an interesting game is its replay value, because the game has multiple, and I mean multiple endings to get. Everything you do can lead you down the wrong or right path. How you handle things, items you find, and what you use them for, or, you know, maybe you go into an area that you weren't supposed to because you didn't have that item, and the events will play out differently. It's a lot, but the game never feels bloated. I feel that there is kind of a balance to a game that's this short, but also gives you multiple branching paths to alternate endings. And to be fair, the things that you come across and how certain things play out, you kind of want to see those endings. And I think that's one of the best parts about this game, because this is coming from an era that didn't really have many games that had multiple endings. The only one I can think of, honestly, is Chrono Trigger. That was the only game back then I thought that had multiple endings, unless I'm thinking of something else during the Super Nintendo era that I'm just completely forgetting. But ultimately, yeah, this is one of the reasons why you'll keep coming back and playing this game, because you want to see those endings. As for the bad, well, I mean, I really don't think there is much bad to this game at all. I mean, as I said, it can be a bit frustrating at times because this game doesn't hold your hand in any way, shape, or form. And honestly, that's the whole point of this game, is to not do that, is for you to explore yourself. Again, I think a lot of people would get very frustrated with this game, but I think people who are horror fans would enjoy it, or at least ones that enjoy horror games. Whether you're an old schooler or a new schooler, I think this is worth checking out. But again, I'm not someone who's really big into horror, outside Resident Evil and classic zombie films. But this game, it scared me. And I had a lot of fun playing it because I've never played this game before. Again, there was no way for me to play it legally outside of Japan. But this is something that I feel, for the $20 asking price and the hard work that they put in, yeah, there's really no drawbacks to this game. So go for it. Give it a shot. I mean, there really just isn't anything bad that I can talk about, at least from what I saw when I played through this game a few times. So, yeah, give it a shot. And so there you have it. Clock Tower Rewind might not be for everyone, but it's going to have its fans and followers, and with the high replay value in this remaster, topping the original, well, it's a no-brainer. Plus, it's only $20. It's very important that we really support titles like these when they come out, because honestly, as I stated, $20 ain't much, and it'll get you plenty of hours of playtime. So, yeah, is this game for you? Well, for horror fans and people who like a challenge, yeah, definitely, this is for you. But for the average player, probably not. But given the mass influx of horror fans since, the debut of RE7 and all the indie horror games that were kind of keeping the genre afloat for many years before this massive resurgence, yeah, I think people are going to enjoy this. Again, it's $20. You can't go wrong with $20 on a game like this, right? So give it a shot. I think a lot of people need to experience these kind of older games to experience that era of point and click. And to be honest, again, it's $20. It's not going to be like a massive loss if you don't like the game or not, but it is going to be a challenge. But I think it's a fair challenge, to say the least. So, that being said, please thumbs up and subscribe, because it's free. And this day and age, free is a damn good thing. As always, everybody, thank you for watching. I'm One Big Boss, and I'll see y'all next time. Take care. Have a good one. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. If you could give this video a thumbs up and a share, helps the channel out big time. Give me a follow on Twitter and Discord, where I'm most active. Links down below in the description. Also, I stream on Twitch, so if you'd like to see me play a bunch of new to retro games, well, click down below, give it a follow. Greatly appreciate it. Till next time, guys, be safe and have a good one.